Hi, it's Alaska Granny. There were actually two things that I wanted to share with you today. And the first one is actually be sure that you have updated and keep track of your first aid supplies, because you just never know when you are going to need something for yourself. It isn't something very serious, but it certainly has put a damper in my day-to-day activities, but I'm going to be okay. But it is slowing me down and it's inconvenient. But I was glad that I had first aid supplies. You never know when you're going to get a big bad wound. You never know when you might break something, sprain something, who knows. So look over your first aid supplies and be sure that you have something, because just like that, you need it. And so that's too late to try to figure out where those things could be. You need them right now. So please beef up your first aid supplies. The topic I really want to discuss today was, would you lend me $100? And the reason I'm asking is because I was reading about someone who had actually won the lottery, and they were saying before you should tell anyone that you have come into a large amount of money, you want to put the feelers out and see who is really there for you, who cares about you, who would be there to take advantage of you. So before you would tell anyone that you would win all of this money, then you might say to 5 of your closest friends that you think you could count on, would you lend me $100? I'm having a little problem and I could really use it. And depending on how they respond to you is how you would know if you would dare tell them that you just won, say, $1 million. They've already set the groundwork of what kind of a relationship you have, and now you know. Well, I thought that is a perfect example of how we should approach prepping and letting people know, non-preppers, that we are preppers, or people that we think we can count on. Maybe instead of telling them about how we prepared, we might want to ask them, hey, I'm all out of toilet paper, or I need some sugar, or something that you would want. Do you have a pack of frozen meat that I could borrow? And see what they would say, because wouldn't that be the kind of things that non-preppers would be coming to you and asking for food? They're not just going to ask you for a pound of beans or a bag of rice. They're going to ask you for something that's more worthwhile. So before you want to even let people know what you have, maybe you need to put out your feelers and find out what they have and how you can trust them. Can you count on them? Are they really there for you? Because if they're not there for you, that's a way to determine we know who we should be there for them. Finding out who's there for us can be very important, and I know depending on the season of life you're in, that's something that I have come to reckon with when I recently lost the love of my life, who was really there for me when he died, who has been there for me through the trials and tribulations that follow up that kind of a loss. Who can you count on when you have a big snowstorm or your power goes out? Who can you count on if you need to do some work around your house and you're not able to accomplish it on your own? Who are your family members even? Who are the friends and family members that are going to be there for you, and you want them to also know that you would be there for them? Who you can count on and who can count on you is a two-way street. And sometimes there are people we do all kinds of things for, and then when we really need something, we find out they're not even there for us. And so maybe we need to put our feelers out, ask people for some help, and see what kind of a response you get. It certainly has been something that has opened my eyes in the last few months when I've had some needs, and some of the people that I thought would be there for me are not. So I'm reevaluating some of the relationships in my life of who I thought I could trust and who could be there for me, because I know I'm there for them. And so it's also giving me the knowledge that I need to broaden my horizons and build my community a little bit bigger of who we can actually be there for each other. And trying to figure out sometimes who you can count on can really be a challenge. That we know we're there for someone, but how do we know for sure if they're going to be there for us when we need them? So maybe you want to take that approach of, what if you did win the lottery? Could I borrow something? It doesn't have to be $100. Ask them for something and just see what happens. Do they say yes? Are they there for you? Ask them to come and help you with some just tiny task. And even if then you say, oh, you know what, I figured it out, I don't really need it, but you already have the answer. And so that can really be valuable in all kinds of emergency situations. So number 1, beef up your first aid supplies. And number 2, see how you can put your feelers out and really decide who is there for you, who is in your prepper community, and maybe look for some new people that you can reach out to, that you are going to be there for them and they can be there for you too. It's always a good day to make a new friend when possible. If you enjoyed my video, I hope you'll share it with someone else you think might like it. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.